Hi there and welcome. This is me and Beck again with just a little drip of peas for you today. So we wanted to talk to you today about what happens as a byproduct of understanding the three principles, these principles behind life that we talk about. And what I've noticed as I begin to understand these principles is that somehow my mind begins to slow down. It feels like I have less thought, less things that seem so urgent going on in my mind. And the interesting thing that I wanted to point towards with that is what happens in that space that's created.
Yeah, so it's I noticed this. It was actually something I wrote a blog on. I don't know if you remember, maybe a year or so ago, that somehow the understanding, the seeing through thought, seeing thought for what it is, it just creates this incredible space that gives us almost just the tiniest nanosecond of breath before we react to a thought, before we really believe it to be true, and that space is just a natural byproduct of seeing what thought does to us. And I know one of the things we were just talking about before we started the video was how Michael Neal refers to us as morons. I don't think it means it offensively.
Oh, I don't know, Michael, maybe he does.
what he's pointing to there is the more we have on our minds, the more we are
moronic
morons.
we are, yeah.
Because when we have lots on our mind, we just don't have the ability to think quite as clearly and see things with the same kind of clarity.
Yeah, and that space that kind of comes from having less on our mind, the space, it's just how interesting that space is, because it's like we are all innately creative, we are all brilliant and amazing and fantastic, and yet when we are morons we don't do quite so well. And yet when that space is created, and like Beck says, it only has to be like the tiniest bit of space, it's amazing what that space, what can germinate in that space, what human beings can do. If you just stop wherever you are right now and just look around you, whether you're in a room, whether you're out in nature, wherever you are, you're going to see something absolutely amazing. And everything began as a thought in someone's mind. Human beings are just, we're so creative and brilliant. And it's that space that's created when we stop over generating that thought that allows us to be pretty amazing.
I was explaining that to a client earlier, and the example I kind of used was, if I kind of said, oh, have you ever done a crossword puzzle and you've got that one clue that you just can't get the answer to, and the more you're thinking about it and the more you're putting on your mind, like, oh, I must know this answer, and who would I, where could I find the answer, and what do I know? The more your brain's doing that, the less likely you are. And almost as soon as you put the crossword puzzle down and go off and make a cup of tea or go out for a walk, you're, because there's less on your mind and you've stopped kind of trying to grasp it, it just comes to you, because there's this creative flow, and somehow we block that up, don't we? You were talking a minute ago about how kind of there's things you have to, like, I think you were talking about a kettle and having to de-line scale and other stuff you pointed to, and that's the same for us, really, isn't it?
Yes, it's like bleeding the radiator pipes, or decoking your engine for those people that are a little bit older than Beck, or those kind of things. Yeah, we don't work so optimally when the system is clogged, and yet creating a little bit of space, and it is, like I said, in human beings, that space is fertile ground. It is the allness of everything. It is possibility soup. It's just, it's brilliant what can be created in that space. So thank you for listening, and we will see you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.